There are some publications that are actually important not only for the information, the content, the images that they have, but also because of the time period when they came out. And probably the best example of that is the late 40s with the publication of Tibetan Painted Scrolls by Giuseppe Tucci. Then in the 60s, especially in the 60s, we had Raghavira and Lokesh Chandra, and we had a tremendous amount of publications on iconography, Sanskrit, Mongolian, and Tibetan. Then we sort of went through a drier period, and then in the early 90s, I think it was 1991, and then it continued for a good part of the 1990s, we had not only a publication, but we had several versions of the publication, and we had an exhibition that traveled the world called Wisdom and Compassion. And there's the original edition, then there's an expanded edition, there's a hard-covered, soft-covered, and then there are several smaller editions based on where the exhibition was, whether it was in Taiwan or Japan or elsewhere. So, Wisdom and Compassion, The Sacred Art of Tibet, and the two authors really are Marylin Rhie, who is an art historian, and Robert Thurman of Columbia University, who's a religious studies professor. This publication and this art exhibition borrowed widely. It borrowed from museums, private collectors, North America and Europe, and it also borrowed from exotic places such as the Hermitage in St. Petersburg, Russia. So this was a very, very important publication because of especially the timing, first of all. Secondly, the tremendous grouping of very, very good quality painting and sculpture. Now, the actual text of the publication is really very much based on a religious context program, very much focused on the Buddhism and the sacred art, sacred history, sacred objects, and then the divided into the four traditions of Tibetan Buddhism. So it's done in a very standard kind of religious studies, religious context presentation, and the material is organized also and described very much from a standard Gelugpa point of view at the time, which is completely fine. That is not the importance of this publication. The importance is the amount of publicity that was put into this publication and this series of art exhibitions that traveled the world, the amount of sponsorship and promotion. This was tremendous amount of resources were put into this, and this expanded the general public's knowledge of Himalayan, Tibetan art, Buddhist art tremendously. So this book is important because it's one of the great books about Himalayan art that has gone a long way to popularizing and making it known. So press the like button. You can join HAR on Patreon, and you can also make a donation on the homepage of Himalayan Art Resources.